NSG, which is going to be very nice. So the scorelines currently, Radiant sit at 2-0 and Nuclear Storm sit at 0-2. One of those games was a DQ, we say, so that's not necessarily they've lost twice, they just unfortunately didn't manage to field a roster. So we're going to have to see what they are actually able to do. It looks like we've had a
classic
DQ again. Let's hold on to that thought of Nuclear Storm having enough players.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the deal is. Hopefully someone can update us in the old chat. Apparently a client bug.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's that's what they appear to be saying, but hopefully that'll be resolved very quickly. Just a case of restarting the client and not a fresh install. So we're asking, can we start? No, you can't start. That would be unsportsmanly.
All right, here we go.
He's back. Fantastic.
Yeah, so hopefully not waiting too long. But yeah, definitely, I think, NSG have got a lot to prove. They've had a fair amount of time to work on things. But Radiant, two of the teams that are towards the top end of the leaderboard, looking really good with that 2-0 start. Kled getting removed instantly, because I was just about to mention it. Dino Ricard having an incredible first week on the Kled. Tyrann as well is a pretty good jungler. He's managed these past few weeks with having, I think, over the first 2 weeks being completely target banned out. And again, seems to be the issue coming in here with the Hecarim removal.
Hecarim removal, but not seeing his signature champion taken away just yet. UKEL Star Chiron is an Evelyn main. Over 350 games this season, 64% win rate, and a 4.7 KD. That is a very scary statistic. And given how damaging the Akali was in the last game, a mobile assassin that is invisible wandering around the jungle is definitely going to be a scary thought. And it is left open for them to pick as well.
Well then, will be interesting to see. Like I say, he's been forced onto fairly sort of uncomfortable picks. I think in week 1 he was on the Rek'Sai, in week 2 I remember the Kindred, maybe not in that order, but all the same, has been on things that are not so strong for him. Despite that, they have managed to overcome the adversity over on this Radiant side. Mental, pretty clean. Mid laner, Jin Linting, Jin Lightning, Jin Sane, goes by many different names. Jinting as well was one that me and Governor used in the first week, because although, pretty high level player, did make some really questionable plays in the first week, but it kind of worked. So like early on this Kai'Sa, she was not doing so well, and then just all of a sudden was able to like dive in 1v3 and still manage to trade 1-for-1. So it was a bit weird to watch, but it kind of worked in the chaos. We do have the Annie here, I believe, will be a proxy pick.
I was just going to ask, is that a proxy pick again, and do we know what it is filling in for? Wait for one of the producers to send us a message on that. But let's talk about the Karma. That is going to be Annie isn't Ezreal. Okay, so it's Karma and Ezreal looking like it might be going towards that bottom side of the map. Karma, we saw her in the first game, provides a lot of utility. The shield, the speed buffs, catching out your opponents with slowing them down, and also a lot of poke. So if that is paired up with the Ezreal, you're going to see a lot of harass and a lot of whittling down of NSG's bot lane before a potential all-in. So Jinx will be picked up there, paired up with the Yuumi. Not a lot of maneuverability to try and avoid any of these ganks. Sejuani for the jungle, and we're just waiting for our third pick. I'm hoping for the Evelyn.
Yeah, it is open. But I think it maybe is a little bit tougher in the kind of league play side of things. It will actually be the Nunu picked up. Something worth noting with the Karma, you mentioned it towards the bot side. Have seen Dino Ricard pick it up in the top lane, actually. So entirely possible in that sense as well. And also has had a bit of play in the mid lane in other regions. So we'll see where the Karma ends up going. A lot of flexibility, I think, is the point that we are both trying to make with that.
Yeah, it's very difficult to try and pin in where this karma is going to go because we know the Ezreal is going to be going bot lane. Jungle Ezreal is not a thing anymore. Thank God for that. Nuno Willamp is more than likely going to the jungle. I'd be extremely surprised if we do see that move around. Corki going to be banned out, so we'll not see our fourth Corki game in a row. I do apologise to anybody who was looking forward to that exciting interactive poking down from range, but Camille taken off the table as well. Seems a lot of our teams are preferring this pick when Akali is going to be taken away as well. The final ban for Radiant.
Yeah, we'll see what NSG are going to be pulling out in terms of the bans. Not going to get that kind of first pick option, but revealing a lot at the moment. The Azir are actually going to be removed, so Corki and Azir, they don't really like it on the side of NSG, apparently. Those scaling champions. Jinsane kind of hovering his namesake here. Definitely loves the Jin. I think this might actually be the first game that it's available to him. I seem to remember him sort of not forced, but having to move on to different things. So we'll see. It looks like he is going to be locking it in the end. But a Warwick.
Changing to a Warwick. I'm gonna wait and see whether that is a proxy pick as well, because top lane Warwick hasn't been a thing for quite a while. It's not that it's not viable. It's just it definitely wouldn't be, a preferred pick. The Nuno Willem is a sensible pick for the jungle. It provides a lot of control, a lot of fast kind of movement through the jungle, and also a lot of engage with that snowball. But the Warwick is a bit out of left field. No word from our producers just yet, but an Olaf picked up. We could be seeing some interesting top lane shenanigans going on this game.
Yeah, maybe. The Olaf makes a little bit more sense, to be fair. Apparently, Warwick is not a proxy.
Warwick is legit. Okay, I'm up for that.
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. I'm still hedging my bets, but yeah, and it'll be interesting. You never know. Again, I don't know. Warwick support would be a bit weird. I think top lane makes the most sense. The LeBlanc going to be picked up though. On the NSG side of things, we have a conventional draft. Fairly easy to tell where everything is going to be going.
A lot of kill pressure in this mid lane. They forced out the standard matchup of a Corki Azir. They banned away the Akali as well, trying to force Mental onto something a little bit different. Malzahar will be final lock-in, a very nice pick into the LeBlanc. As soon as you hit level 6, is able to lock her in place, and you can't do anything about that suppression unless you take the cleanse. I'm watching whether that's going to switch over, but of course we are remaking the lobby to get rid of that Annie proxy pick. So it's going to be a LeBlanc Malzahar matchup in the mid lane, something we definitely don't see a lot of at the minute and haven't done for quite a while.
Yeah, I think the thing is, Malzahar again is one of these champions in solo queue. He crops up a lot. We've all, played against. You've got to pay that tax. The cleanse obviously comes in, but as the ADC or maybe, a bit more of a glass cannon AD champion, you have to be buying the QSS relatively quickly. Just because, he's a hard press R champion, right? But also, worth noting the ability that he has to just shove lanes in and completely out-roam you and have great map pressure across the board. So definitely not a bad pick. It's just kind of one of those things where he needs to be careful himself. There's not really a great deal of escape routes available to him once that passive goes down.
Yeah, because that's one of the great picks. The reasons why LeBlanc, we have seen her coming back into the meta a little bit. She's still this incredibly bursty assassin that can jump over a wall, pop you down to 0 health, and then just retreat. But she also has a lot of wave clear as well. So she can be used in a side lane, responding to these pushes, getting them back into your favor, and then disappearing back to where the team needs her. Malzahar, an excellent answer because he is equally as obnoxious pushing out these waves. And I'm going to question where that Yuumi is going, because I believe we were picking things in correct order. So unless that's a Yuumi top, I'm assuming that's going to be swapped around.
I mean, surely, right?
Surely.
It would be a real interesting one.
Yuumi top into Warwick is not a matchup I think anybody wants to see. That does not sound that does not sound like interactive League of Legends.
Unless they're doing some kind of funnel strategy here. Like the Yuumi doesn't actually play But again, surely not. I mean, it wouldn't make much sense. We saw the Sejuani, though. This is the thing.
Yeah, and with the Olaf being locked into the jungle position, we might be seeing a Sejuani. No, this is the thing. With the Yumi has to be support. The whole point of
there's
Yumi
no
is that she
way
attaches
a
to you.
Yumi lasts in a solo lane.
No,
as
definitely.
well. Just even it doesn't make use of a kit, and then also the low HP and stats and things that she has makes just for an easy target. And looking at the summoner setup that Techie Fiend has gone for, maybe just kind of autopiloting the Vermact para, just kind of really autopiloting.
There we
with
go.
That. Is it
go.
Sejuani top or is it Olaf top? This is.
It looks like it's Sejuani top. The only switch around that we've seen has been the Yumi. So Olaf potentially looking to try and outfarm the Nuno and Willem clear quicker than they are able to and get out onto the map for these ganks quicker. Sejuani is viable up in the top lane. She's not going to face a huge amount of kill threat from the Warwick. She will be able to weather that storm quite nicely and will be able to fully build into this monstrous tank that will just engage to no end for the side of NSG.
Will be interesting to see how these lanes kind of work out. Some sort of unorthodox picks, with the Malzahar coming in for sure. And then we kind of have some almost unheard of picks. Sejuani and Warwick looking at you guys really in the off roles for those champions. Not, completely random. But it is definitely a peculiar choice, to say the least. I think, especially for me, I don't know, the Olaf in the top lane, I think would be a little bit better, but maybe the Warwick counters him.
I can't remember how the matchup goes. It's one of those where the two champions have a very similar playstyle and kit. They both thrive on attack speed, on lifesteal, and have a surprising amount of sustainability when at lower health. And I have seen, the videos where people compare like max build champions just duking it out with just autos, then abilities and stuff. I can't remember which one of them clinches it. I think it might just be the Olaf because of the true damage strike that he has access to.
Would make sense. And he can get through the fear with his Ragnarok, I would have thought as well.
Yeah, I'm not entirely certain how that matchup goes. But anyway, it will be Olaf in the jungle instead. As I say, I think that the Sejuani was moved out of the jungle position because the Nuno and Willem came through. Nuno and Willem has a very healthy clear, a very fast clear, and they perhaps NSG wanted something to contest that, so they went instead for the Olaf. Very, very quick clear speed, although it does leave him susceptible to being picked off if Radiant decide to go hunting for him, as he will be at low health a lot of the time.
Yeah, indeed. We shall have to see kind of how it develops. It's definitely an interesting draft. It's kind of exciting. I feel on the side of NSG, it might suit them a little better. The Malzahar particularly, is really great in that laning phase, but coming into the team fights once the QSS is brought up, maybe not as good, but then combined with like the Warwick, it's burning your QSS and then you've got another suppression, not quite as easy to land, but all the same, they have a lot of pin you down with the Karma slows coming in, the Nunu slows coming in to kind of facilitate the fact, and then you've got like two suppressors potentially that could be landing onto a high value target. Probably looking at the Jinx just because the LeBlanc is a little more slippery, but all the same, I think their comp is a bit more transparent. Whereas the NSG side, they have some pretty heavy engage available to them.
Some very heavy engage, but they are going to be the same problem that I mentioned for Viper or last game. They are going to be stuttering out if they find themselves on the back foot. There is so much ability to chase you down, pin you in place, and just keep you where you need to be for the side of Radiant. The NSG are really going to struggle if they do find themselves on the back foot, not being able to pick off these targets, blow people up. And that could be what Radiant look to do. Find advantages early, get ahead in their lanes, and then just brute force some objectives with the suppressions, with the speed boost they have. And all of this CC picking off one member into another, into another, into another.
Yeah, it's definitely the kind of spiciest game, not only in the sense of the matchup. NSG, like I say, have got a lot to prove here, but also in terms of those comps, nothing too interesting coming in terms of the runes and whatnot, so should be fairly conventional in that sense. But we've got a classic wet noodle fight in the top side of things for sure. I think a lot more.
I don't know about that. I've just looked at the mastery points that these guys have on their champions, especially up towards the top side. Dino Ricard has 284,000 mastery points on the Warwick. That's raising some eyebrows.
Yeah, definitely is. Maybe this is kind of his pocket pick. Available and might actually understand the matchup a little bit better. Because I feel like with picking these, you sort of immediately go to, they're picking it for the team fights. They're picking it more for the utility that these champions can bring. But Maywell, that Warwick can definitely run you down if you're not careful.
Yeah, and while we're just talking about the mastery points that champions had, we mentioned Dino Ricard, 284,000 on the Warwick. How many do you think Rip in Peace has on the LeBlanc?
Oh, God. I mean, with a name like Rip in Peace DFG, I feel like, he's been a LeBlanc player for a long time. Are we talking millions here? We're
not quite talking millions, but we are talking 670,000.
Still an awful amount.
It's not an
trying to be like an all-round player.
It's not an insignificant amount of time, is it? Let's be honest here. That's quite a lot to understand the mid lane matchup. So I'm expecting to see victories on the top side of the map for Radiant, but perhaps falling behind in the mid lane to this very, very experienced LeBlanc player.
Indeed, could be a scary one, and like you say, that LeBlanc has the power. Gets a couple kills, gets a bit of a CS lead. Doesn't really matter about your passive on mental. He could just blow you up, and also Jin Lightning, Jinsane, whatever he's going by, needs to be very careful over in the top side of things as well, to be honest. It's really looking difficult. I said top, I mean bot, but all the same, it's looking kind of scary if Rip in Peace is able to get off to a really good start, has that potential to just roam around the map, blow people up out of nowhere.
Yeah, and that is really going to be a massive, massive problem. It doesn't matter how much ability you have to run people down if you are simply being popped. And the scary thing about the LeBlanc is she's able to do it from anywhere. Much like a Zoe, that Sleepy Trouble Bubble can appear over the wall and nuke you down straight away. This time, it is the LeBlanc. She just appears, you're caught in those chains, you are burst down with a Sigil of Malice, and you are dead. Sent back to Fountain, you do not pass go, you do not get to contribute to a team fight if Rip in Peace gets ahead. So, having looked at these teams' mastery points coming into the game, I'm expecting Trucker Phase to be beelining for this mid lane, trying to get that passive shield away from Malzahar and opening up the gates for that LeBlanc to get far ahead.
Yeah, indeed. Hopefully we are going to be getting into the action relatively quickly here. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. The one thing about the Malzahar, I feel, especially at these high levels that we're playing in, it can be a little bit telegraphed when you're about to get ganked, kind of thing. If the LeBlanc suddenly walks up, autos your passive off, he's either looking to try and fight you or trade you out. But there is also, it helps to have that down when the jungler's coming in. So I think it's going to be a fairly interesting kind of early game to see how things are going to go, if I'm honest. But we'll have to see how things develop. Should hopefully be in the game now. Yeah,
and it's although we're talking about the power of this LeBlanc, it is definitely a good champ to try and play into the LeBlanc. The Malzahar does have a lot of safety, and will be able to mitigate a lot of that with some of that easy access to the wave clear, won't be pushed too far back under the tower, won't be falling out too much. And we are jumping in slightly ahead of our usual period at 10 seconds. Had a little bit of an issue on the production side, so straight into laning phase, but Deep Vision has been established in NSG's jungle, but they are instead looking to invade onto this top shadow map and take away this red buff.
Yeah, definitely interesting. We'll see. It doesn't look like they're aware of this fact on the Radiant side of things. to be fair. So as the Nunu, goes for the more conventional
level 2 gank
way
top
in,
lane.
yeah, and we're going to see a very early gank coming in from this Olaf onto the level 1 Warwick. We're going to have this issue. Misses the axe. Flash coming through, however. That should be it. I mean, the axe surely would have spelt the end. Does need to be careful here, Dino Ricard, but all the same, kind of gets away very, very safely.
Yeah, if that axe would have connected, it would have spelt the Warwick's end. That slow would have been enough to pin him in place for Warmac Power and Trucker Phrase to take him down, but pushed so low already. Might fall to Sejuani here.
Does need to be careful. Going to get tagged down very low indeed. I mean, even a dive with the flash available for Max, it's possible, but maybe not feeling it so much. Does land the mace, but not quite going to be following up.
We were talking about this potentially being a pocket pick in the top lane for Dino Ricard on this Warwick. The experience points that he has with this champion. I want to point to something which I was hoping we weren't going to see. That's a Doran's ring on the Warwick.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Is he actually okay?
I don't know, but it's it's a possibility.
Maybe it's just part of the starting. Yeah, we aren't experts, honestly. He is going to get frozen down though. The Nunu is coming in to save the day, however, and this is where the Warwick comes into fruition. The Blood Hunt on, trying to get away as a Sejuani. The Q spam coming in from Dino Ricard, as you can kind of see there on the spectator. Fortunately for the Sejuani, is able to get away, and the early burn of the flash of that Warwick does mean that there's going to be no kill coming in.
Warmac Power had to use his own in that fight, though, so both of these top laners are now flashless. Both of them have no TP either. So there is a lot of early fighting going on. TP, 3 members in the top lane for NSG.
My goodness. What is going on? This is such a big fight in the top side of things. The TP is actually cancelled, maybe? I'm not entirely sure what the hell happened, but it ends up being a 2-for-1 overall. Dino Ricard not finding anything. I think the first blood picked up by the Nunu, but I'm really not sure. It's a messy one. No, it was a Sejuani getting the first blood, wasn't it? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, Sejuani managed to pick up the first blood onto Dino Ricard. Star Chiron then returned the kill over onto Sejuani. Rip in Peace tried to teleport in, but Mental was able to silence her.
Silenced, yeah.
Yeah, it will have been McHugh's silence. There's no other CQC available at this point, so nice stop of that is a good Summoner spell blown. And Rip in Peace has used the flash as well. Not sure when that was done.
Oh, Mental is going to try and flash away. Gets taken into the ethereal chains, though, and that will be all she wrote. There's the true damage coming in. Easy stuff for the Olaf.
Trucker Phrase getting the kill rather than Rip in Peace here in the mid lane. Would have liked to see that go over to the LeBlanc, but any alleviation of farm and those assists, it is still money in the bank for this LeBlanc. She's going to be very happy with that, and this is exactly what we said we wanted to see them doing. This Olaf just making a beeline for the mid lane, knocking off that passive shield. Now the flash is gone, this repeat gank can be tried again and again, and just putting this Malzahar down as far as possible, letting LeBlanc scale up and get to that devastating potential we know that she has.
Yeah, it is definitely a scary one. Warwick taking the trades in a huge minion wave. Going to take so much damage for that, in fact. We'll avoid the Winter's Wail, but not quite able to return anything. The Sejuani seems to be coming out on top a little bit, buying up a bit of AP as well. So really not sure what the build path is going to be right now. It definitely is a hard one to follow.
Those bites, though, are doing a lot of damage. We're seeing Rip in Peace is under threat here, but as for LeBlanc, that's not going to be anything too much, I say that.
I mean, we'll see. Has to burn the flash over the wall. We will gain a bit of gold, and actually the level up coming in off the clone for the Malzahar, so Rip in Peace definitely does need to be careful. But yeah, ultimately nothing happening, but this is a very, 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 very scrappy game so far. A lot of fights across the board, really. Yeah,
we have more kills in our first 6 minutes than we had in 10 minutes of our previous game. Dino Ricard still going forwards here, just getting that extra health back with the Q, but it's very low now.
Yeah, really not a lot of respect. Going to get the damage reduction and the fear as well coming in. Chasing down with the Sejuani. Able to turn things around. 6 comes in. There's not enough mana. Oh my goodness. That was like 10 HP, if that.
That feels bad.
Unfortunately, Infinite Duress not available, but
If the ult would have come out there, that would have been a beautiful turnaround by Dino Ricard, but really not showing a lot of respect at all, playing extremely far forwards, and we could see the junglers clash with mid laners here. That passive shield will be knocked off again. UKEL Star is in trouble.
Indeed, he's trying to get away with the biggest snowball ever, but the fade away undertow. Meanwhile, in the middle, the suppress going to come through as Dino Ricard TP'd in behind. Nobody had any idea. Olaf looks set to fall. Truckerface going to go down. It's a shutdown for the Ezreal. Meanwhile, Sejuani is in the middle of 4 players at the moment, trying to pick up the pieces. Able to maybe get away. No, the flash comes up in perfect time for Dino Ricard. And unfortunately, boys, it's not going to be the AP Warwick. He's got that Tiamat. And a good job that he does, because he finishes it off with the active.
All of a sudden, it falls to pieces for NSG. It looked like they had a good chase into the jungle. They managed to take out the Nunu and get another kill onto the Olaf, but all of a sudden, the turnaround was so much collapsed through. Their bot lane was not able to respond, and Jin Lightning moving up, getting that assist, getting that kill, that beautiful TP in from Dino Ricard, picks himself up a double kill for his troubles, and will be feeling very, very good about fighting this Sejuani up in the top lane now.
Yeah, indeed. So it's looking kind of good. And the thing is, I think Jinsane getting those kills, he, for the vast majority of these weeks, has been a little bit of a win condition for them. Like I say, Dino Ricard's been really good on the Kled in the first week, but it's been banned out ever since. So, he kind of used up his one opportunity to 1v9 on it, and is now confident enough to just go for whatever. Oh, that's a little rough from Rip in Peace. Kind of missing most everything. The fight here in mid. Oh my goodness, that Olaf damage is massive. What the hell? The Ragnarok comes through. He's going to look to fight the level 5 Nunu, by the way. Oh, the undertow not quite able to land. Dino Ricardo is down from the top side, trying to pick up the pieces here. If you can find the kill onto Rip in Peace, it's definitely doable. They try and catch him on the return of the Distortion. Not going to come in, though. So a 1-for-1 trade in the end.
LeBlanc fading back to where she was. You're always in a bad situation when you're trying to chase LeBlanc through your jungle, because she can just disappear over any wall, run loops around you, and no matter how good you are, no matter how well you are playing, you always look stupid when you fail to catch LeBlanc. But very nice pickup for the side of NSG, but it does go south for them again. The superior rotation from Radiant will catch members out. They will lose their jungler again, as that is another kill picked up by Jin Lightning as he moved up through the mid lane.
Yeah, the Olaf damage is huge, especially when he pops that Conqueror, adding to the true damage that the Reckless Swing already adds. But he seems to be the only one at the moment. Dive coming through from the Warwick here. Fear back towards his own tower as well. However, frozen up, it's not looking too good. Nunu's coming in. However, the infinite duress. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. The snowball not going to land. At least a flash burned away. So there is that. And this Warwick proving that he can definitely give the Sejuani a good run for her money.
Tango with the best one. They might look for the tower dive here. The Nunu is full health with red buff, so could potentially tank this. Instead, deciding to move away. No TPs are available, so no help would have been coming for this Sejuani up in the top side, but choosing to show some respect and deciding to back away instead, as the Olaf is taking out the Cloud Tray. Going to give him a lot more maneuverability, a lot more roaming power, and that is definitely going to benefit their style of play, where they want to be rotating this Olaf and LeBlanc before Radiant are able to. Definitely a nice pickup for them.
Yeah, and able, because of the top lane priority, to trade back the Rift Arrow by the looks of things. However, we are seeing a dive towards the bot side. The Olaf damage is massive, so is the Ezreal damage, though. I have to say that's kind of worth. It's a pretty big shutdown coming through for Trucker. Frey's really starting to look strong on that Olaf, and the ability to just run people down, as he doesn't care about the tower damage. And as well, gives a bit of an opportunity across for the Jinx of Farming Machine to earn a bit of gold back here.
doesn't care about the tower damage, but perhaps he should do. That's the second dive in a row where he's gone a little bit too aggressive, and yes, they've managed to pick up a kill from it, but he has fallen down himself, and if he keeps giving away these shutdowns, it is going over to the right members. This Ezreal now on 3 kills. You saw the amount of damage that came through. It was simply huge, and sooner or later, they won't be in the situation where they can isolate people on the towers, where they can just slip into the jungle behind them, and if they get to a stage where they have to fight from front to back, I think that you're really going to see NSG start to struggle there.
Well, we are having a bit of downtime at the moment. It has been a relatively high-octane game, to say the least, where we have seen, I think, very slow build-up across most of the games this evening, where, you know, it is those advantages that we talk about in the draft pick, the win conditions coming in eventually. But in this game, it doesn't really seem to matter. Just fighting all across the board. And really
a lot
really interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of poke damage, a lot of different avenues to look at. We've got an interesting lane up on the top side. We've got, yes, it's still, you know, standard meta mid lane picks, but not what we've seen for a long while. The Malzahar into the LeBlanc, and just some really interesting champions this game. I'm getting a bit tired of seeing the, you know, the Corki, the Azir matchup. So seeing a LeBlanc Malzahar, that for me, that's pretty exciting for our final game.
Yeah, definitely, and it is that kind of interesting picks that we were looking for. Huge damage coming through. However, the final chapter flashed forwards. A lot of flashes coming in, actually. Not going to be the kill for the Jinx. It goes on to the Yuumi, so not ideal, I guess. But this is something I was kind of alluding to. You know, the classic meme of Jinting. It really does fit well with his name. Sometimes he can get a bit over-aggressive, a bit overconfident, and not think about the consequences of his actions, so to speak, as, you know, he goes down. Good catch coming in, though, with the suppression. Not going to be enough.
Oh!
Blank is still able to get away, man. It's pretty crazy stuff. Oh, no.
And that feels so bad. The reason LeBlanc got away...
Attention.
The reason that LeBlanc got away there is that Tyrion didn't activate the ultimate quick enough. He thought he'd be able to get the full charge off to blow Rip in Peace up, but wasn't quite able to channel it fully. Dashed his back away, and all he gets is a couple of minions, and then he is tanking the tower the entire time. That is extremely unfortunate, and very nicely played by Rip in Peace, capitalizing on a mistake there to get a kill, even if the tower is lost.
Well, we'll have to see. The Jinx starting to build up a good amount of gold and a fair amount in terms of the CS lead. I kind of have to say Jinx, you know, where the Ezreal is very safe and obviously does scale up. Jinx has that potential. She hits 2 or 3 crits in a row on 3 or 4 people at once. She has the potential to wipe out a team. Okay, this is a little bit over-aggressive, though. I suppose her jungler and her support were nearby, but they were not available to help. Gets caught off guard by the tether, and I mean, you're pretty much dead after that.
They were trying to set up for the tower dive again, Jinx shoving in the wave and providing that pressure while Olaf and Yuumi ran behind, but Radiant saw that coming. They had people in position. They just ran out the other side of the tower and killed the Jinx first, and all of a sudden you can't dive that anymore. You don't have that consistent damage, you don't have that long range, and an Olaf running under tower into 3 members is not what you want to do, even if he is spotted by a Yuumi.
The aerial chain's going to land, though, and the flash forward comes in. The flash return from Mentally goes down. A TP coming through the Olaf once again, just able to survive. But Dino Ricard jumps in, only just misses it, but it closes the gap nonetheless. They're trying to get the return here. Rip in Peace will dish out a bit of damage, keep the Warwick at bay at the very least, but one of them is going down here. It looks like it's going to be the Sejuani. The tether going to land on towards the LeBlanc as well, and she dashes straight back in towards the Warwick. Doesn't really matter in the end. It's actually the Sejuani who escapes because they turn their focus onto the more important LeBlanc. Looks like as well they're going to get themselves a Cloud Drake.
Slightly too many members there. You can't duke out everything, especially with that fear from the Warwick and the root from the Karma. Just too much CC locking you in place, and Rip in Peace will pay for that with his life. Both of these teams extremely even so far. 9 kills apiece, 1 tower apiece, and there is only 400 gold in it. This is the closest game we have had tonight yet, ladies and gentlemen, and it is shaping up to be a good one.
Yeah, indeed. It's very, very back and forth, right? We've seen the early advantage from the Olaf. We've seen Jinsane kind of put into a position where he could really carry things. Then he kind of goes into jinting mode, and it doesn't snowball as hard as it could have done. We see a good catch in the top side coming through from Radiant, though, and then a nice little fight towards the bottom end as well. Here's the LeBlanc, though. Look at that damage. He survived so very low, though. I don't think she had the corrupting pots ticking as well. If she had,
made me feel sick. That made me feel a little bit sick there.
The state of the game, you know, I guess it is LeBlanc, to be fair. It's what we've come to expect. But she's like one item.
She's not even fed, though. That's for... Oh, God, Riot, come on, please. Like, please, come on. That was just... That's not fair. That should be R-rated right there, because that was just brutal. But didn't manage to find the kill from it. Jinting just managing to get away, but it will cost them the top tower unless Hyoying can push them away. Karma just
gotta be careful, though. And the Undertow to finish it off again.
Ouch.
Nobody respecting the LeBlanc damage, man. You know, it's still there in the same way that it always has been. She's also got a Dark Steel here, boys, so please be careful.
I don't think it's a matter really of Radiant not respecting the damage. I think it's Rip in Peace is playing incredibly aggressively, like diving back under the tower into a Karma when the rest of the team was arriving. That's a ballsy move for anyone to pull off. Caught the Karma off guard, manages to pick up the kill, and gets out as well. Just these kind of snap decisions that you don't expect them to make. It's like you look at the situation and you think, okay, this is a play that could happen, but it's an extremely risky play. It's like a 20-80 chance of it happening. And then you pull it out, it surprises you, and you pick up a kill from it. Really good work there. This Olaf 7-4-2 now, being such a driving force. Only one kill that he has not been involved in for his team, and a massive, massive threat just constantly skirting around these side lanes.
Yeah, especially now that we are seeing Rip in Peace become super strong. He's keeping attention around himself, but also drawing a lot of attention. They're not really ready for the Nunu to be here, though, I don't think. They're still going to try and go for it. The flash is forwards. The Olaf, he's not quite able to get it. I think he messed up his autos a little bit. The Jinx ult comes in, but it's not going to be enough. Rip in Peace is able to survive for just a second longer, but goes down eventually, trying to minimize the gold split there. Suppress comes through on towards the Sejuani. Sure, we'll have a final chapter here, but it's not really going to be committed at all from Farming Machine, as they're a little late. Again, Radiant coming out on top as the over-aggression, the, super, super, super in your face. Even once they see the Nunu just flashing forwards, it doesn't really work out. Radiant are ready, and this one-track aggressive playstyle is now starting to be punished.
And it's gonna keep hurting NSG even more if they try to keep forcing this. It is gonna get to the stage where they just don't have the damage to burst down the tires. If the Warwick or the Nunu is there and they manage to intercept, or the Karma gets that clutch shield to keep that member alive, all of a sudden the Olaf is in a very difficult position in the middle of 4 enemy members. The LeBlanc gets caught on one bit of CC and stuck in place, and that's a lot of your power instantly gone. They kept trying to pile into that fight and make it worthwhile for them, but they ended up losing 3 members, a tower, and nothing at all was gained for them. So they have to try and rein it in. Yes, they can make these picks. They have the Olaf that needs to be in your face, needs to be playing aggressively, but they need to pick their moments of when to do it.
Rip in Peace, gonna go on towards the Malzahar, gets the Ethereal Chains in. However, the Suppress return is gonna be enough at the very least to burn the clone. Not gonna find the kill, I suppose, as we move across towards the Baron instead. Tyrion gonna get caught off guard. Down goes the Jungler. Okay, and an aggressive back here from Mental. As Rip in Peace, again, those aggressive playstyle that he's going for is completely red. Dino Ricard going to be playing Ring Around the Rosie, flashes over to take him out, but meanwhile the rest of the team going to be on the Baron. Very early Baron it is too, but something to consider here is certainly the damage they're able to dish out with this Jinx, with this Olaf, and of course the Yuumi as well, just keeping everybody well healed. The Ezreal trying his damnedest to take it, not going to happen. Are they going to go over? They are indeed. Trucker Phrase going to go down. So there is that.
Only losing one member would be nice, but this Warwick is still on the hunt, might be able to catch out the Sejuani, decides instead to back away. Very risky play by NSG. They are not wanting to calm it down at all. They are not wanting to rein the pace of this game, instead going full throttle. A 21-minute Baron with 4 members of the enemy team nearby and poking you down. They managed to secure it, only losing the jungler, and that could be massive for them as it gives them the push needed to knock down some more of these towers.
Will be an Ocean Drake. Maybe. Okay, Rip and Peace just going straight over with the blasting plant. Gonna lock up Tyrion. However, Dino Ricard is here, of course. Super fast stuff. If he's able to survive, no, they're gonna lock him down with the fear, with the infinite duress, and it will indeed be another takedown. Rip in Peace. Still dishing out the damage, but needs to, you know, maybe the players there for me. You know, you kind of actually jump in. Okay, I'll hold the point because it does look like Dino Ricard going to get caught off guard now. He will end up going down. Massive shutdown, but for the Yuumi, meanwhile, moving forwards with the Ragnarok, can't be disabled. Will eventually get slowed down. However, they're looking to keep diving for Tyrion. Looks like he's going to fall. Flash Locket. Unfortunately, the Absolute Zero not really going to find anything. Yo Jung forcing a flash at the very least. But again, the scrappiness continues. It ends up actually being a 2-for-1 in favor of NSG.
And just as I was about to criticize NSG for going for that over-aggressive play, not picking their moments correctly, they managed to back it up and they come out ahead. They now get lots of damage onto that mid turret, and we're going to burst through this Ocean Drake, and they could potentially turn for another fight off of this.
Oh, the Chomper's indeed going to land onto the Karma, forcing her flash. However, Super Mega Death Rocket going to go through, and the Glacial Prison going to land. It will be the shutdown off the burn of the Liandry's, of the Sejuani. Suppose they work quite well together, but all the same,
they still have the Baron buff here. 4 members are around, so they can just keep pushing this mid lane. There are no ranged champions nearby for the side of Radiant. Malzahar is still trying to get onto his way. This Jinx, 3-1-3 with 2 items, doing a lot of damage, so much wave clear, and all the while LeBlanc is pushing up in this top lane as well. It seems NSG, yes, they lost a few members, they had a couple of scrappy fights, the kills are very even, but they have the control of the game at the minute, at least while this Baron buff remains active.
Yeah, you have to bear in mind as well, there's not a great deal of MR at the moment. I suppose the Nunu is definitely starting to build it up. That Locket Shield is helpful, but not quite as strong of an item as it once was. No longer provides, you know, for quite some time, the AoE MR. But all the same, I feel like the Mals, the Ezreal, need to be very, very careful, because not even like a Hex Drinker maybe for the Ezreal that could be an idea to stop him from getting blown up by that LeBlanc. It is going to start to become a real issue later on, and there's also magic damage coming out of the Sejuani. So they do need to be very, very careful. So very squishy here, and I think it's something that Radiant have started to learn the hard way, that it is going to be an issue if they're not careful.
Yeah, and all of a sudden this front-to-back team fight looks more and more promising for the side of NSG. This Jinx has managed to stay very safe, built up a sizable CS advantage.
Oh, Flash going to come through from the Olaf. Mental thought it was just a one-on-one. However, beautiful stuff from the Karma to keep him alive. It will be the Jinx to take him down, though. Look at this damage coming in with the red buff as well. She's able to just run him down. A huge triple kill for Farming Machine. Not just CS, but champions as well. The Jinx has come online, combined with that Yuumi, just able to keep the speed up, keep the damage, the adaptive damage. Rip in pieces like Tyrion. Hello, how's you doing? No time to back. Gonna go for the extended fight. We'll actually see. I'm not sure. Yeah, the Nunu. There's maybe a world in which he actually wins this with the HP that Rip in Peace is on. I
think Nunu can win this, but there's no way that Rip in Peace is going to let that fight happen. Just trying to disable those back times for as long as possible, because this Jinx is just ripping through the base of Radiant. Turrets are dropping across the map. That will be the first inhibitor, and now a 5k gold lead expands for the side of NSG. We said how they've only played 1 game so far. The second was a DQ, unfortunately, but they show that they are here to play, they are here to turn up, and they want to win.
Yeah, man, they've got this super aggressive, super disrespectful kind of style. The pick of Malzahar for Mental not working out. It's sort of what we talked about a little bit, the lack of escape that he has ultimately, and I think what they've both discovered into this game what becomes a bit of a counterpick, the LeBlanc, you know, the ethereal chains, we've seen it time and time again. The first part, so the damage part, doesn't come through because of the passive, but the chains stay on, so you still get rooted. So I think he's not too fussed that he doesn't get the damage from chains, because it's not the main source of his damage, and then throws the Mimic out there as well. You're going to be rooted for quite some time. So I feel like that's something that maybe Mental had not considered, and every time he gets spotted, he's getting caught out.
And there's been so much pressure on this mid lane as well. Trucker Phrase has been all over the map, but so much of his attention has just been running at Mental here. This pair in tandem have knocked off that passive shield, forced out his flash, and just killed him over and over and over. He has had a real problem farming up, even with his safe wave clear, and he's having a real problem impacting fights now.
We'll see. The Ragnarok popped. Turing going to be happy with that. The whole team going to be happy with that. They're just going to back away and recognize that is a relatively big cooldown. He does have a lot of cooldown reduction, so I feel like, it's maybe like a 40-second cooldown? It's not huge, but it does buy them a bit of time, just as the Baron pressure going to be coming through, that maybe there's not going to be massive damage from the Olaf, but they're just going to go for it again. This Jinx super strong. They will back off a bit, though, looking more to fight, especially because the LeBlanc on the bot side of things does have TP available, but just keeping that pressure up.
They have so much pressure. They have super minions pushing into the mid lane for them. They are soon going to be knocking on those Nexus doors. Rip in Peace is sieging this tower. Ezreal doing his best to clear it out, but he will not be able to survive for too much longer. And the side of NSG can simply walk away from this Baron, let it reset, and find it again. If they get a pick like this, fantastic, but they don't need it. They just need to stall.
They've kind of missed the mark here. It seems the bot lane has certainly missed the memo, as it's going to be a 2v4 to start off with, and definitely a bit messy, but we'll see what this Jinx can do once she gets the resets. The final chapter going to be coming in as well. Another triple kill for her by the looks of things, as Mental has no way of getting away. And I feel like at the very least that's another inhib. Might just be the game, though, because Jinsane, I don't think he can hold things back here. Got to respect the LeBlanc as the flash comes forward, and no chains even needed. Just a flash into the distortion, into the Mimic. And that is all she wrote. Tyrion now to hold things down.
Farming Machine has TP'd in, but Yumi will provide those heals
as well.
Tyrion will drop 14 seconds on down on Ricard, but it will not matter. This Jinx is excited. She is cutting through these towers. There are DQs coming through from Radiant. They do not want to watch their Nexus fall, and that is exactly what it will do. Farming Machine and Rip in Peace come out big, and they will claim their first victory for NSG.
I am not going to lie.